You keep yourself in the word. You keep yourself in prayer. You keep yourself coming to the house of God and hearing, for faith come by hearing, and hearing by the word. You must hear the word because your spirit is getting hungry. Your spirit needs to feed. So the body needs physical food. The spirit needs the word of God, but the soul feeds off of information. The soul wants to know. Write down Proverbs chapter 2, verse 10. The soul wants to know. And that's the problem with the soul. The soul wants to know. The soul wants to know. Proverbs 2, verse 10 says, knowledge is pleasant to the soul. Knowledge is pleasant to the soul. So the soul grows off of information. It wants to know more. That's why you find people that love to gossip. They hang around each other. Ooh, you feed my soul, baby. Come on, what'd you hear? What happened? Sister so-and-so did what? Brother so-and-so did what? What happened? I need to know, because you feed my soul. The more the soul knows, the more the soul grows. Did you hear me? But God designed the soul that way. He designed the soul to feed off of information. That was his design. But that's also the problem with the soul. And here is why it's a problem with the soul. Whatever the soul knows, the soul will speak. Now we're getting into calm and quiet the soul. Whatever your soul knows, the soul will speak. And whatever the soul speaks, the soul eats. Whatever your soul speaks, your soul will eat. Did you catch it? Did you just catch all of what I just said? Whatever you feed the soul is going to speak. Feeding is eating. Whatever you feed the soul is going to speak it. First Lady helped us do that a few Wednesdays ago when she said, you got to watch what's coming into you, because whatever's coming into you, when the problems arise, all you find yourself is speaking the problems. Because you've been listening to the wrong thing, so guess what? When you speak, all that's coming up is the wrong thing. Because the soul's been feeding on the wrong thing. Now, Proverbs chapter 13, verse 2 and verse 3 says this. It says, a man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth. He's talking about words now. He's talking about how you living shall eat good. He's talking about how you living by the words you say. A man shall eat good, Lisa, by the fruit of his mouth. Okay? That's verse 2. The second part of verse 2 says, watch this now. But the soul of the transgressor, underline that word when you get home. When you get home, make sure you underline that word. The soul of the transgressor shall now eat evil. Whatever the soul feeds, the soul speaks. And whatever the soul speaks, the soul eats. Let me paint the picture for you. No, let me not paint that picture yet. Let's go to verse 3. Verse 3 says, he that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, but he that opens wide his mouth shall have destruction. We're talking about calm and quiet your soul. You have to calm and quiet your soul. It says, cease from the fretting. Cease from the fretting. Calm and quiet the soul. Because it's like a cow. When a cow eats, watch what happens when the cow eats. The cow eats and it ingests what it eats, but it didn't digest what it eats. It eats and then it brings it back up and re-eats it again. And now what the cow ate the first time came back up out of the cow. Now the cow is consuming it again because it came back up. But this time it goes deeper into the cow. It goes from one stomach to the next stomach, to the next stomach, the cow has 4 stomachs. So what the soul is doing is whatever you've been putting in it, when you've been speaking it. And what you've been speaking, you start eating it again, because as soon as it comes up, the soul grabs it back down. But this time it goes deeper. This time it's deeper in you. But God designed the soul that way, so that the soul can get the word of God. The word can get in, it can get down, it can come up and bear fruit and then go back down again. The word, the more you notice when you're around people that are full of faith and full of, that's what, like, you know, when we hang out with the glow ladies and all of those, it was just, they had so much faith. When you hang out with people of faith, they're always speaking the word. And you ever notice how stronger you feel? But as soon as you start hanging out with them folk out there, you find yourself feeling weak, and now you want to go back to the stuff you used to. Why? Because that's what they're talking about. The soul's been eating and feeding and eating and feeding and eating and feeding. Now it says the soul of the transgressor shall eat. It's the trilogy of sin. It's sin, transgression, iniquity. Sin is what you commit upward against God. It's the sin that you commit against God. It's I broke the laws and the commandments of God. Iniquity is the sin. It's all sin, but it's the sin that I commit from within. It's the sin that's in me. It's the stuff that's bent, twisted, and the wrong on the inside of me. That's iniquity. But transgression is the sin I commit against God by sinning against my brother. Transgression is like transportation. I cut across the line and I sin against my brother. So, Sister Sally, it's not just sinning against my brother. He said the soul of the transgressor shall eat. He's still talking about words. In other words, it's how I sin against you by talking about you. It's how I sin against you by what I say to you. It's the words that I'm using to sin against my brother. He says, and the more you keep speaking that, the more you keep eating that, and you're going to have evil. And some of us have sown seeds with how we've been speaking, and we've been reaping the wrong harvest. And God is saying, change your harvest by changing how you've been speaking. Just change it. And how you change it is by feeding on the word. Feed your spirit, not your soul. Feed your spirit. Come on, say this with me. I'm going to feed my spirit and not my soul. My faith lives off the word of God. My faith lives off the word of God.